Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gary and yes, back to another topic about real estate. And yes, my table might be a bit messy, but it's okay, that's my style. Anyway, most important is continuing my story about CCR properties. In today's discussion, I'd like to share with everyone about from the OCR to CCR. Having mentioned it in the previous time that narrowing prices, is it going to be easy for OCR owners, current OCR owners to eventually move towards the new projects in CCR area compared to something that is 10-15 years ago when the property market peaked again, and then we can see the drastic difference. Okay, so the content today, narrowing price gap of CCR versus OCR in 2025. Is it easy for OCR condo to upgrade to new CCR? And was it possible in 2010-2013 property peak? Could it also be our government's long-term intention with the Thompson East Line getting ready today, in fact? Of course, I will also talk about the upcoming new launch that probably you have started looking at it or trying to search and find information about it. It's called River Green, the first CCR child of our millennial generation. I pick millennial generation because so far I met people that are upgrading seems to be in my age group of between the age of 34, having their family started all the way up to around early 40s. Okay, then of course I'll give my summary and my take for today's video. Most importantly, if you like my content and you enjoyed so far the things that I discussed about, more than happy, please help me to like and subscribe. If not, leave me a comment. I will be very happy to discuss any topics with you regarding properties in Singapore. Okay, let's have a look. So I have mentioned this in the previous video, okay, why new CCR condos might explode down the next few years. Okay, and then in that topic itself, I discussed about narrowing price gap between CCR and OCR. Today, I would like to go in a bit more to talk about why is it a bit easier for a OCR condo owner to consider upgrading towards the new CCR condos. And this has two standpoints. Number one, OCR condos, especially say for example the resale EC segment, the owners have gained very good traction. As you can see, averagely I believe 3 bedrooms are around $1.5 million in the OCR region. And how does this owner, after exiting from their current 3 bedroom, is it easy for them to move into the new CCR condos of 2025? Of course, if you have followed my previous video, if you have not, feel free, the link is below again, can click on it. I explored the potentials of a new CCR condo being in the price range of around $2.8 million. Now, this is something because of a post-harmonization kind of ruling that allows the net usable space to be a bit smaller, and therefore the pricing and the quantum is a lot more attractive to owners. Okay, so if you look at the right side of my slide, if we were to let go, say for example I'm a OCR condo owner, around 3 bedrooms, I can sell for around $1.55 million. I would less off the purchase price that they bought in 2015-2018 period. It should be around 800,000 for easy calculation's sake. But if you want a more in-depth one, feel free to reach out to me. I can pull out all the figures for you and then we can have a clearer discussion. Okay, you can see that they are sitting on a gross profit of 750,000. Okay, so I also adjusted the gross profit net off around 12% to include the fees, the cost of ownership, the stamp duty they paid during that period of time. That will result in a net profit of around 660,000. And of course, getting back their initial down payment of 200,000, they should have, when they sell their property, around 860,000 back into their pocket. With this amount, okay, notwithstanding the amount of CPF, the additional amount of CPF, they have the savings that they have managed to accumulate in the past 8 to 10 years. Okay, let's look at if they were to go and purchase a 3-bedroom CCR condo in 2025, what is the outcome? Is it easy for them to do so? Okay, so estimated price of a 3-bedroom CCR new condo, which is around 1,000 square feet or slightly lesser, depending on the developer. This probably depends on the developer's layout. Okay, estimated price could be around $2.8 million. Their down payment of 25%, around 700,000. Stamp duty, based on the current stamp duty rates, is $109,600. So if you add in all together, their upfront cost, their total outlay should be around $809,600. Compared to their total returns from selling their place of $860,000, they should be in an excess of $50,000. So whatever they have sold their place, they still have an excess of $50,000. And this actually brings about a very important point whereby this allows owners to really consider, I buy into a CCR property, I still have access. Well, that means that I can have this particular choice. I think that's a very crucial point when serving so many owners when they are buying their house, especially upgraders. Whenever they want to buy into a new place, they always consider this. Am I all in? Do I have any excess funds? If I have excess funds, seemingly I should be able to consider this. Okay, so this is a very important point, and this is whereby I'm trying to say that it makes the decision a lot easier down the road, whether they want to move to CCR or they continue to stay within where they are and choose something bigger. Following on, the loan is around 75%, which is $2.1 million. If you notice, based on the current TDSR rate, the combined income should be around $19,000 to $20,000. That means husband and wife individual contributor should be around $9,000 to $10,000. And I think for a medium income family, if you are the EC segment or you're already sitting in a 3-bedroom condo in the OCR, I believe your pay range should be roughly around this household income. Okay, so in totality, I would say that having this, it seems like it is also a potential choice for OCR owners to move towards CCR, and it could also couple with some of their personal goals, like they want to be nearer to their workplace, easier to get around their workplace, or they want to give their kids a different grew up environment, and having this option really widens up their choice to upgrade. How easy is it? I think we should also have a comparison if it was during the previous property peak market when 2010-2013 period, because technically when property market peaks, your value asset increases to probably the maximum at that point of time. You can also consider whether you want to come to a CCR. So if you do that direct comparison, the left hand side is what I have done earlier. On the right hand side, if you look at prices of the OCR in 2010 to 2013 period, an average 3-bedroom should be around $1 million. Less the purchase price that they bought in maybe in 03-07 period, around 500,000, their gross profit should be around 500,000. Okay, I adjust for some fees and their cost of ownership, they should get back around 450,000 because back then stamp duties are probably lesser, and then of course the cost will be definitely lower than what we are experiencing right now. With the initial down payment they got back, they should be having a total returns of $500,000. But with this $500,000, can they easily move into a 3-bedroom CCR condo in 2013? Okay, so if we look at the price of a 3-bedroom CCR condo in 2003, I took a reference from Rivergate, freehold, 3-bedroom, along Robertson Quay, River Valley. I think that is one of the go-to properties at that point of time. Let's use that as a benchmark. Okay, their down payment at that point of time is already 620,000. Based on their stamp duty at that point of time of 3% tiered, it should be around 87,600. The total outlay at that point of time to move into a CCR is already $7,600. With their total returns of 500,000, they still have a shortfall of 200 plus thousand, and hence I think with a shortfall that you have to consider taking out the extra money to move into a CCR condo, least likely I think at that point of time OCR housing area owners will want to consider jumping so far. And especially even if you look at it on a simple basis of coming from a $1 million house to a $3 million house, I think that is quite a bit of a stretch for most of the OCR owners at that point of time. And henceforth, in comparison, you can see that the slowing down in the new CCR prices can actually help the OCR owners, the current OCR owners, to easily move into the CCR market. And of course, alternatively, as a owner at that point of time, in 2013, if I sold my OCR house for $1 million, at $3 million, I can buy CCR. I can also choose to buy other products. It could be also a RCR area. It could also be a landed in the surrounding that I used to stay in, penthouse in the RCR region. And also, I feel that not just having more housing options, but also if you look at the convenience of our core central area back in 2010, 2013, is not as fantastic as right now in 2025, with the MRT line, Thompson East Line being up and ready, and this brings a lot of mobility, a lot of convenience to a lot of people as well. What I'm trying to say is that, as you can see, if we do a comparison, it is not so easy to move back then versus it is as of now. Okay, when I was doing this, I also thought, like, could it be one of the government's direction as a long-term intention for the Thompson East Line as it is getting ready today? Because the Thompson East Line was announced in 2012 up to 2014, and during this period of 2014 all the way up to last year, in the span of 10 years, they actually helped to increase the OCR and RCR prices quite significantly. And I think this indirectly helps to prepare the MRT line so that when more housing options are available in town area, especially Great Wall, Havelock area, it is an option for people upstream on the Thompson East Line, namely Lentor, Mayflower, and even the Upper Thompson area, to easily consider moving down the MRT line towards town. I think there is some correlation, not so sure, but it feels like it could also help to justify for the pricing of the CCR today. Other than using figures to justify for the ease of movement for people to come from the OCR region to the new CCR condo area, right? I think most importantly is also to justify certain buying patterns of OCR owners. And this is where my previous content I also got mentioned. What is the recent buying patterns for upgraders? And how can this be mapped out onto Great Road this area? And I feel that this is a very important point because yes, figures make sense to help people to make decisions, but in totality, to buy into a home, I think most people also want to consider other factors involved. For example, if you can see near the MRT, convenience. Being near cheap amenities because it's daily lifestyle. So around Great Wall, there is this Zion food center that you can go for. Being near a shopping mall, obviously Great Wall Shopping Center is one of them. Being near a primary school, there's two in that area. In fact, I think I found the third one, St. Margaret's Primary School, if I have read correctly. But the two main ones are River Valley Primary School as well as Alexandra Primary School. There's also the potential upgraders, HDB upgraders in this area. We are very blessed to already seen upgraders coming from Margaret Drive area that is going to MOP in the next 3 years, Dawson area, and subsequently Red Hill is also having new BTOs coming up. And if you have searched just right below on the next MRT station, Havelock, there are also upgraders coming along. There's also new BTOs that's going to be built along Havelock Hillside. The plots in Great Wall areas, they are not small. They are minimally 500 units and above. And this is a very good size condominiums, and you will get most likely you will get full condo facilities as well, namely swimming pool, tennis courts, gym, your function rooms, and you also get sky elevated dining, living area, common areas, because this is the trend that is already evident in the Great Wall area also. And bonus, being along Great Wall area also allows you to be near Singapore River, and you'll be near Robertson Quay leading up to Clarke Quay as well as Boat Quay. So these are quite iconic places of interest, places of like a park that people would like to hang around and chill out on the weekends. Having such a combination, I think this would help a lot of OCR owners feel that is a better reason to elevate their asset value. Not just that, you also get an elevated lifestyle, and you also put your money's worth, you just be nearer to a lot of things. In fact, even so, if you are working in CBD, working in town area, you're even nearer to work. Okay, so I think this is one of the key things. I like to combine the initial flow is talking about how finances make sense. The next flow is about how the living environment makes sense. All this can actually help a lot of OCR owners to be able to accept or trying to gradually move towards the new CCR condos. Especially, they have a hard time also trying to find resale in their own particular vicinity. Say for example, easily if you are a Sengkang, Punggol, Hougang OCR condo upgrader, you might find it difficult to find similar 4-bedroom in that area because the supply there can be quite limited, especially those that are very near what I said, the buying patterns. These are challenges that can be alleviated with the influx of choices of 4 condominiums in Great Wall area. Now that we are getting more information about River Green, which is designated to be launched around the 3rd week of July, thereabouts. Gradually getting more information, of course, on the floor plan, on the estimated pricing matrix, and also eventually what are kind of facilities that is going to be surrounding the condo. But what we have so far is 524 units as mentioned by the developer. Wing Thai is the developer, okay? And the unit type has been out. Okay, there is 1 bedroom, 1 plus study, 2 bedroom, 2 premium, 2 plus study, 3 bedroom, and 4 bedrooms. What I'm going to focus on is the 3 and 4 bedrooms in the next slide. As you can see, I think this is one key interesting point that I like to bring out about price. Is it a safer bet to consider the new CCR condo? Why do I say so? So if we look at the 4 bedrooms in particular on this particular table that I created, if they were to do a post-harmonized size of 1184 square feet, they could also do smaller. Really depends on the developer, because Wing Thai has record of doing smaller size units, but still generally quite livable. Okay, so if they were to do a 1184, that means the price quantum is likely to be between 3.4 all the way to 3.7, $3.8 million. So in comparison, you have seen the recent launches or what is transacted before and available at Parktown right now. For example, let's take a comparison of the OCR new launch is $3.443 million. And for Lake Gardens is 3.091700 that is being transacted before for the 4-bedroom. Moving down, an average resale 4-bedroom in the CCR transacted is $4.32 million. The average resale landed transacted in Tampines, Pasir Ris is $3.75 million, and in Jurong area is $3.265 million. The price difference, if we compare for the landed and the 4-bedroom, is around 8.8% for Tampines, Pasir Ris, and 5.3% for Jurong area. If the percentage difference of the landed versus the 4-bedroom is not too significant, in the future, when these owners were to sell it at 3.4, they probably want to cash out for a profit of $500,000 to 3.9 to $4 million. Can this group of future buyers then consider a landed at a similar pricing, given that the pricing difference is quite narrow for a 4-bedroom and a landed in the OCR area? And at a $4 million budget in the OCR area, are we getting a smaller pool of buyers? I think that is a very important consideration, especially if you're considering buying a 4-bedroom in a new launch market for the OCR, because they are going to price points that has not been tested before and not so visible as to how big the pool of such a buyer is, considering that they can also consider to buy into a inter-terrace, a terrace, or a corner terrace at the same price point in the OCR. However, the whole ball game changes when we are in the CCR arena, because in the CCR area, at 4-bedroom in the CCR area resale already transacted at $4 million. That's the average price, or in fact that's the lowest price. There are even higher ones at $5-6 million. What I'm trying to say is that when buyers come into the central area of Singapore, they are prepared to pay this price point. So if this price point has been accepted before, it is not that of a much challenge that if you are calling for a higher price in the future. What I'm trying to say is it easier for you to exit $4 million property in the future in the central region of Singapore, where transacted prices for 4-bedrooms has been $5 million, $6 million, or in the outside central area of Singapore, where this price point of $4 million 4-bedroom condos has yet to be tested, and there are also alternatives like landed inter-terrace for the future buyers to consider. This brings me back to my point whereby I'm talking about to exit at a $4 million price point. It is safer to do so in the core central area of Singapore because it has been transacted before, versus in the OCR region of Singapore, whereby this future group of buyers have the option to look into the landed area at a 4 million to 5 million price point, and they potentially can get landed with a bigger living space. So this is the end of my video. In summary, I have mentioned number 1, easier for upgraders to consider with a narrow price gap. And what does it mean for a narrow price gap in terms of reasonable capital outlay that OCR upgraders have to fork out versus in the past in 2010, 2011, 2012 period, whereby they have to fork out even more so. Okay, and then next, of course, is not just on the financial approach, but also in terms of the whole feel of being near the MRT, near the mall, near a workplace, and near the primary school. Things are generally unchanged, which are certain buying attributes that OCR owners are going for, and yet they have an elevated living in the central part of Singapore with the newer condos coming up in Great World area. And finally, most important, is it a safer option to then look into the core central area of Singapore versus in OCR? For example, I draw examples like Tampines and Lakeside, whereby in the future, the buyers that are going to buy over from you, they might have an option in the landed segment, be it an inter-terrace, be it a corner terrace, that allows them to have a bigger space at similar price point when you want to exit in the future. Okay, so that's the end of my video. Thanks for bearing with me, and remember to help me to like and subscribe. I will see you in my next video.